I ever, in the future me, future Blossom, if I ever stumble upon this video in the future, okay? I've already said future like a million times in this video, but if I ever stumble upon this video, like in many years in the future, okay? I want you to remember, and I want future me to remember, that I'm recording this video just a couple minutes after Arsenal beat Bournemouth 3-2, and we scored on the 98th minute, literally the last kick of the game. So if we do end winning the season in first, that game is probably the game of the season, not gonna lie. But anyway, talking about first places, we are going to be reviewing the one-seater pack. And yes, lo and behold, I was hoping that this pack will come one day, because this is a Motorsport pack on steroids. Look, they just get better and better, right? We first had the Motorsport pack, which isn't even that goated anymore. I guess it's the OG. It's the OG, right? Because it was like the first of the goated packs. But then after that, they released the slick and off-road tire. Remember that? The slick and off-road tire pack. And that was really good too. And now they have released like this one-seater pack, which is literally almost the same thing. I mean, every single car in this pack is slick tires besides one. I'm pretty sure that the Birdcage is the only performance tire car in this entire pack. Every other car is slick tires. But I just want to let you guys know that right off the bat, like, this is already a really good pack. And you know how like sometimes there are packs where everything is crap and I'm really just comparing which is the shiny of the two turds? This one is kind of like which is like the dirtiest diamond out of all the diamonds, if that makes sense. So this is the complete opposite of what a really bad pack is. Like, overall, if you are a brand new player, this will be like the best pack for you to open, because if you're brand new to the game and you want to get yourself a super reliable OP car really fast that you can use in dry conditions, then look no further than this pack. This is the perfect pack to get. But anyway, guys, let's get into it. It is still interesting to see where I'm gonna rank all these cars, because there is one thing about all the recent updates. The recent updates since World Expo, and look at all the cars over here. Look at how many of these cars are, you know, pre-World Expo. They're not a lot. When it comes to Ultra Rare, it's one Ultra Rare. Everything else is World Expo and post-World Expo, right? So since PL15, a lot of one-seater kind of slick tire beasts have arrived to the game, right? And obviously, like, there will come a point where these cars will become redundant, and that's kind of what I want to address today as well. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with the Ultra Rares, and straight off of the Ultra Rares, I'm just going to show you nothing but comparisons to just show you my point. So number one is how we're going to judge the Ultra Rares over here, and as you can see, for the most part, the RQ50 kind of is the best car here. It's the cheapest to use, and it's also, like, you know, taking the most wins. The thing about what I love about this car is that it's an all or nothing kind of car. Like, it's either like bright green or dark red. Either way, it's either first or it's either last. Nowhere in the middle. The Renault Megane is somewhere in the middle, right? So as you can see right now, like, this is the best one here. The Romeo GTV Cup doesn't seem to be that useful. Like, it's kind of just very, like, it's a jack of all trades, master of none. It's exactly what it means, because it doesn't win anything over here. Surprisingly, the Mito is the best car for the hairpin road, and I do believe that's due to the incredibly low 0 to 60 that it possesses. So as you can see, overall, it's a pretty even fight between these 5 cars. But the moment I bring in the Circuit EV, bro, everything kind of just changes. All the green literally goes away. But the Alfa Romeo 147 GTA Cup actually does keep its, you know, best times on the slalom, G-force, and car park, so that is something to note. But yeah, the Circuit EV, I mean, it kind of proves why it's the Blossom choice over here. It's just the best. And then obviously we're gonna bring in the Ginetta as well, and as you can see, the Ginetta will then take away basically what the Alfa Romeo 147 had. So they're very similar, I would say. Both, especially the Alfa and the Ginetta, they're both very similar. So now that we've seen that, I think what I'll tell you is this: to put it in like Der Kaiser or Daily Driver, like somewhere in the high ranks, obviously the two best ones are going to be these two. Now the Alfa Romeo GTV Cup, like I said, doesn't seem to be that good, but I would put it in a frequent provider, because although it doesn't win anything, it's not like it finished last in almost anything. It was just somewhere in the middle. It was just the perfect middle ground. So these two I'll put in Daily Driver, but I actually want to put the Ginetta and Der Kaiser. The Ginetta is ridiculous. I mean, that chart that I was showing to you just now, we're basically just showcasing the cars within the niche, within its RQ, but I've got to tell you, I know I blossom choices for a reason. The G40 GT5 hits so far above its weight. Like, it maintains the best on the car park and the slalom and the G-force way above RQ52 against many competitors. So it's really strong. Now, next car that I want to talk about is the Maserati Tipo. And the Maserati Tipo is probably the worst car that you can get here. Now, don't look at these times, just look at the drag times on the top. So on the top over here, as you can see, I'm comparing it directly to the DB3S, and the DB3S is the better car. And like, the only thing that matters for the Tipo is that it's like kind of this dragster, right? MRA is pretty decent, 85 MRA, so really it is a dragster. It doesn't handle very well. You get this thing at 323, 85 handling. Is it gonna win any of the twisty stuff with its competitors? Absolutely not. So yeah, you're gonna view this car as a dragster, where it is at least semi-capable against other cars in its competition. Well, I guess in its RQ, not really in its competition, but the main competition is the DB3S, and as you can see, it cannot hold a candle to the DB3S. So the birdcage is just a piece of garbage. And then next up, I want to talk about the twisty stuff. So the main thing that I really want to highlight over here is this Morgan, the +4, and it's not that bad, you know, putting it up against like cars like the Elise, which is one of the weaker Lotuses in the game. And I want to put this car, I kind of see this Morgan as a twisty car, so sorry, as a hybrid car. So I'm putting it up against other hybrid cars like the Aero Atom 1. Yes, I think the Aero Atom 1 is a little bit of a hybrid car. I get that it's really light, but the handling 94, I mean, compared to the other cars that we saw just now at 99 and 97, 94 isn't that good. Porsche as well, this is a great hybrid. Aston Martin V8 is great hybrid. The main thing about the Morgan +4 for 55 RQ, that 0 to 60 is incredibly low, and as you can see, it shines. It actually beats cars within its RQ and above its RQ in some cases, in the hairpin, indoor karting, karting circuit, and the twisty road as well. So it is very interesting, and it's not that bad. I'm actually going to put it in daily driver. Next up is the birdcage, and the birdcage is definitely hot garbage. Last but not least is the Alpha Giulietta TCR, and that's gonna be pernicious also. I mean, it's got 90 MRA, it gets over 100 handling, but I think any owner of this car will know that it's actually like really disappointing. Alright, moving on now, I want to talk about the 65 Epic, and as you can see over here, it's a pretty decent middle ground car. It does win against these 65s like the Alpha, the Donk, the Audi. I mean, the Audi is just a piece of crap. It's only 323 because there are actually no times for the 233, but there are times for the 323 for some reason. So yeah, I mean, I can showcase to you right now that the Alfa Romeo 1750 isn't too bad, but it's got nothing against like the super twisty specialist. You bring in the Lotus, and the Lotus just wins everything. What is pretty interesting though is that the 1750 actually is a pretty decent fast car. Not the best dragster by any means, but it has like the best MRA of 79. Like I said, it's a bit of a hybrid. It's not good, it's not bad, it's a freaking provider. I think it's a pretty decent 65, but that's not saying much when you are a 65. Alright, moving on to these two epics. The Alpha GTA is a daily driver in my opinion. MRA in this car is relatively strong, I think. Let me check top driver's record. Yeah, 85. Handles very well. The main thing about this car is that the 0 to 60 is a little weak, but in that front wheel drive meta, which isn't that fleshed out, it's a very good car. Moving on is the Fiat Abarth. Now, I want to like this car. Don't get me wrong. I want to like this car. The only issue is that it is basically an epic version of this Giulietta TCR. As in, like, it handles well. Not even as well as a TCR. MRA is good, too. 0 to 60 is relatively low, but as you can see, it's not even as low as the car that is 2 RQ cheaper than it. But obviously, the MRA is better. It's going to be better on the drag. It's going to be better in every way. But when you compare it to RQ67s, it kind of just pales in comparison, especially when you compare it directly to the Ginetta G56 GTA, which MRA isn't like the worst. 71 for like a super twisty car, it's okay, but the main thing about this car is the handling, and it's just absolutely immaculate. It is definitely Der Kaiser, just literally an epic replacement of the G40 GT5. And then the next car that I want to talk about is the Jaguar XJ STWR. I mean, at this point it's just decent. It used to be one of the best cars in the game, but the fact is, it is just a very decent car now. I'm not going to say it's pernicious also or anything, because although it loses to a lot of these like higher RQ cars, it makes sense because they're higher in RQ. Like, this is a very 74 car, you know what I mean? Like, it still handles very well, it's still very light, it has a 99 MRA, it's still really strong. It's just that it's not as strong as what it used to be, and that kind of is the story for a lot of these older cars that before World Expo came around. So I'm looking at you Mustangs, I'm looking at you RSR, so kind of let's just put them all in the same place, right? RSR is decent, Mustang decent. This one, the GT4, I think is a little bit more useful out of of these two Mustangs, so I'm definitely putting it in their daily driver. But yeah, these three, like, they're good. But they kind of failed the test of time. You know what I mean? Like the newer rookie, I guess you want to call them, they're just better. Like the newer slick tire, one-seater motorsport cars, whatever you want to call them, they're just better. But the good thing about this pack is that even though these cars are weaker, they're still never going to be pernicious ulcers. They are, but at worst, going to just be frequent providers. Because at the end of the day, I am comparing this car, these cars, to, you know, its competitors in the same pack. But when you open the floodgates to the general sense, when it comes to just asphalt dry, these are the leading cars of every race. Like, so they're not ever going to be pernicious ulcer or hot garbage. Like, these three are pretty bad, but like these, the Jaguars and the Mustangs, they're never gonna go below frequent provider. It's just sad because you know, a year and a half ago I put those cars in Dirk Kaiser and daily driver. But anyway, I digress. Moving on to Nissan Silvia. Once again, it's just average. And then I want to talk about the Porsche 968. This one is a pernicious ulcer, unfortunately. It's an epic version of the Giulietta TCR, where, like, yeah, handles really well. Yeah, MRA is really good. But the only thing weighing it down is the 0 to 60. It just fails to keep up with other cars in its competition, unfortunately. So as much as I want to love the 968, and I do, it just doesn't really hit the mark. It can't really compete. It can't really stay afloat. It can't tread water. Okay, so yeah, pernicious ulcer. And then let's talk about the rest of these epics in one quick swoosh. Okay, so as you can see, like I said, these epics, I mean, they're coming redundant a little bit. Because there's just so many slick tire epics that handle well with good MRA now, where, like, they are kind of becoming redundant now. Like, there is like, back in the day, you see yourself a one-seater slick tire epic and immediately you think, oh yeah, that car's Blossom choice. Oh yeah, that car's gonna win you everything. But since there's so many of them now, that isn't the case anymore. And as you can see, out of every car over here, the winners are basically all the British cars. I mean, just look at the cars that win the best, you know, that has the brightest greens, that has the first place finishes, right? The Ginetta, the Tuscan, the Lotus Exige, the Lotus Exige GT3, and the V6, and the Morgan Plus. So all of the UK cars are winners over here. Like I said, I will prefer the Ford Mustang GT4 over the FR500. I mean, I can always just compare these two together. And as you can see in the twisty stuff, the Mustang GT4 is just a better car in the car park. It's the better car in the G-Force. Not in the hairpin though, but it's the better car in indoor karting circuit, slalom test, not twisty circuit, but not even twisty road actually. So that's actually pretty interesting. That's very, very close though, 0.04. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when you open the floodgates and you put it up against the British cars, they kind of pale in comparison. So what I'm gonna do is this, right? We've seen the times now. I'm gonna put the British cars all on the top besides the Morgan, not because I hate Morgan per se. It's because, like, although it had one first place finish, it was a tied first place finish with the Tuscan race car. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it down daily driver. And then, like, these other cars over here, I'm gonna put them in daily driver as well, because at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with the Porsche RSR. It still is a pretty insane car. It's basically just like a light version of the Ginetta G50. And I mean, look, I mean, it's 37 to 37, 93 to 92, very close, 2 RQ difference. The RSR is cheaper to use, which makes sense. So yeah, the only thing that I just cannot agree with is that this car has 72. There's no way. There's no way the RSR 3.8 has 72 MRI. That just doesn't make any sense at all. And last but not least is the Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR. And I'm going to put that in daily driver as well. It's just a very, very strong front-wheel drive car. Once again, it's relatively similar to the Alpha. You know, the Alpha is a lower 0 to 60, but the Volkswagen handles better, and it has way better MRI as well. 93 compared to 85. Now, let's move on to Legendaries. Now, Legendaries are honestly, once again, dime a dozen. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, and the last comparison I'm going to show you today, is the comparisons between the McLarens and the Porsches. Now, one car that really intrigued me was this one over here, this Porsche GT3 RSR, because it has 118 MRA. So I really wanted to see how it would, you know, fare against the McLarens and even the other Porsches in its niche. But whoever owns this Max just didn't decide to put in the drag times. But it is very, very impressive from what you can see here. It has 1030, which although is the slowest time, it's only 0.02 seconds behind the 12C GT3. 12C GT3 also being, you know, 1 RQ higher with a 0.2 seconds difference to the 0 to 60. So what I can deduce here is that definitely the GT3 is going to beat many of these cars on the half mile, and perhaps even all of these cars on the 1 mile, but we can't tell for sure because there are no times for it yet. But one thing is for certain, it is the best car for the fast circuit rolling. So that is very, very, very strong, beating cars even 3-4 RQ higher than it in the 720S GT3. And then obviously this is at 111 because the moment I put this at 233, the RSR 19 just takes all the wins in the twisty conditions. So with that being said, let's talk about McLarens real quick. So for the McLarens, I'm gonna give these two daily driver. This one can remain in Der Kaiser. And then for the Porsche and the Ginetta is also going up to Der Kaiser. As you saw in the times, this was a very competitive RQ90. When it comes to the Porsches, I'm going to give the RSR Der Kaiser. I'm also going to give this, you know, just because of the 118 MRA, I feel like when you get those drag times in there, it will be a very formidable car, as well as the 911 GT3 Cup. Like, all of these cars are just very, very strong. I mean, a part of me, you might just be really biased because I love Porsche, but moving on to these lower RQ legendaries. So the first one is the Alpha 155. I'm gonna put it in daily driver. It's a great saloon, and I think the MRA is also really strong. It has 102 MRA, handles very well, but the 0 to 60 is weak. And I feel like it's one of those cars where you're only going to get a lot of value when you max them out. So, I'm going to put, like, this in daily driver. I don't know, should I even put it in frequent provider? Yeah, I'm gonna put it in frequent provider. I feel like if you have to max the car out for it to get you a lot of value, I'm gonna put it in frequent provider. I'm being very strict here because all of these cars, bottom line, are very, very good. Audi, I'm gonna put in frequent provider as well, mainly because, like, yeah, the 0 to 60 is very low, but the handling isn't that good, and the MRA is only 82. You compare it to another saloon in the Subaru Legacy, and the Subaru Legacy, where is it? Where did you go? At the bottom. It's just so much better. Like, the handling, it's 1 RQ more, but you're getting 4 more handling. To be fair, the MRA is a bit weaker, 80. This is 82, and 3.5 to 3.3. But when it comes to the twisty situations, obviously you're gonna go for the B4. But I feel like I'm being a bit too harsh to this Audi. I'm gonna move up to daily driver. Moving on is the Audi A5 DTM. Now, the Audi A5 DTM, we don't know what the MRA is on this. Surprisingly, it's actually not on Top Drives Club. But the handling is very good, and the 0 to 60 is strong. I'm gonna put it in daily driver. Yes, because from an RQ90 I expect 3095. I think 34 is a little bit too weak for an 88, to be fair. Moving on is the Audi R8 LMS GT3. Yeah, that's like one of the best Audis in the game. Definitely the Kaiser. It's one of the best Bentleys in the game as well. I mean, it is the best Audi and Bentley non-prize in the game. Lancia Beta Monte Carlo, I'm actually gonna give this daily driver. Handling's good, very light. MRI is very good, but the 0 to 60, once again, pretty weak for an RQ85. Evora GX is really, really strong, beats the Viper ACR everywhere. Morgan Aero GT3, this one is, yeah, I'm going to put that in frequent provider. Once again, you're only going to get value out of this car if you're able to max it out. The Nissan R381, 102 MRA, but, you know, the 0 to 60 is not too good, and the handling is actually very poor. I'm going to put it in daily driver, just because there are a bunch of better dragsters up in here. Zanavi, I'm still going to call it a Zanavi, I don't care what you say. I'm going to put this in daily driver as well for an 88 3395. Very similar vibes to the Audi DTM, where I just feel like the MR, not the MR, but the 0 to 60 kind of, I don't know, it should be 3.2. 3.2, you know, and then the 89 would be 3.1, and then a 90 would be 3.095. That's kind of what I expect. So slightly short of the mark. I mean, daily driver is still a really good rank to put it. And once again, guys, this is in my opinion, okay? It's my opinion. Moving on, the Nissan at the end, because like at the end of the day, I've said this so many times. This pack is amazing. The Nissan R390 GT1 race car, that is going to be Der Kaiser in my opinion. The Super Silhouette, not much to say about it. Handling is pretty weak. MRA is okay, but it's under 100. I'm gonna put it in freaking provider, honestly, because it's one of the few cars here where the handling score and the MRA are both under 100 either, because the thing about this pack is that most of these cars either have both over 100 handling and over 100 MRA, or one of either. And this is one of the few cars that just fails. Obviously Müller is their Kaiser, 917 is their Kaiser, 935 is their Kaiser, 936, yeah, everything else here is their Kaiser. Well, the Banana is an interesting one. The Banana is a hot hatch, 96 MRI, that's 104 handling, but the 0 to 60, 3.7 is really weak. So as with all the other cars with slightly weaker 0 to 60s or under average 0 to 60s, I'm gonna put them in daily driver. Now, every car that I've kind of reviewed here with a lower, like a pretty bad 0 to 60, they have really good MRA. The only issue is that every car up here also has really good MRA. So it's like you need to be like perfect to get up there, you know what I mean? Or Porsche. Yeah, because I'm biased. But anyway guys, I'm gonna be completely honest, this pack is so damn good that I'm gonna open them. I'm gonna open all of them actually. I mean, I can't open all. I mean, I can. I've already opened one. That's the thing. Where's that one-seater pack? Where'd you go? Like, this is a pack that I genuinely highly recommend. Seriously, like if you want, I would highly. That's Pagani. Yeah, this one over here. I've already opened one. I'll show you what I got. But the odds of getting a bad card here is ridiculously low. Like literally, it's just the bird cage. That's the only joke car. There is a pretty bad epic, but at least it's an epic. You know what I mean? Like at least I can fuse it into a legendary. So literally, the only car we do not want is the bird cage. I will take that. I've never unpacked that before, so I'm actually really happy. As you can see, I had it wish listed, so that's really, really good. And then we'll open the last one as well. This pack is worth it. Like by every definition, it is worth it, dude. It's a motorsport pack, but better. That's what can I say? All right. Spider Monoposto concept, cool car. Let's see. Anything but the bird cage, please. Alright, I'll take that too. It's new. To be fair. I don't think I have that, so I will take that. So we'll add those cars to the garage. Really happy with that Alpha. Definitely want to max it out very soon. And yeah, it's a pretty decent car as you saw in the times. But let me just show you real quick what I got from that first unrecorded pack, because it was a good one, to be fair. Where is that sexy beast? There it is. X-Siege V6 Cup R. So I did get this, and as you can see, very new. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.